I think Sargeant, I think we've mentioned this before. If you'd asked me 3 months ago, I'd have said Sargeant's a shoo-in for another seat next season. It always seemed like, that obviously they'd had him before he came into Formula One. He was affiliated with Williams, American owners there, but he hasn't performed in the way that they wanted him to. And Laurence is absolutely right what he said earlier. All the points have gone to Albon. It wouldn't have actually made a difference to their championship because Alpine are so much further ahead in the next slot, but it has left them vulnerable to the teams below them. And I think that is a big, big deal. It's interesting there. I think that the one thing that I think might take it away from Sargeant is the fact that James Vowles has gone there. We've heard Toto Wolff say over and over again that he thinks that Mick Schumacher should be in Formula One. I don't necessarily agree that Mick showed enough at Haas for that to be the case. But it's interesting to see now if Vowles' relationship with Wolff means that Mick comes into that car. But Mick's another interesting one. I don't think Mick did enough at Haas to really prove either way. I mean, you look at it. Do you want to take Logan Sargeant? Do you want to take Mick Schumacher? I think either of those, it's kind of, they're both a bit of kind of a, shrug your shoulders, kind of meh, kind of thing. So I don't know whether Williams will be convinced to go in that direction or not. But certainly Logan Sargeant, the noise around that team is that it's not as certain as it once was. And then AlphaTauri is a really fascinating one. I still think Ricciardo's kind of got the seat locked down if he wants it. I think the injuries probably complicated it a little bit, but if you're and you look at this from a wider perspective, if you're the company that are coming in and buying AlphaTauri and you're becoming the title sponsor, we believe it could be Hugo Boss. There's a few other companies involved there. Do you want a guy like, I say a guy like Liam Lawson. What I mean is a rookie like Liam Lawson's not very well known, hasn't been in a series of Netflix. Or do you want Daniel Ricciardo in that car? Probably behind Lewis, behind maybe one or two others, probably the most marketable guy in F1 still. I think that alone wins it for Ricciardo, and the fact that he came back was very, very good in those first two races he had back with them. And then be difficult to see them get rid of Tsunoda. So I don't know, Lawson on the sidelines again, but it's tough, isn't it? Because he's so far has shown he's acquitted himself pretty well. So that is a really fascinating one. And I think that Red Bull have kind of inadvertently ended up in a situation with a real headache with that decision, because it wasn't meant to be they had three drivers going for those two seats. It was meant to be Ricciardo comes back and then we've got him for a year and a half in AlphaTauri. We'll deal with it down the line. Even though Ricciardo's deal is to the end of this year, I've always felt that it was like, prove yourself this year. If you can't do it, we'll put Lawson in. If you can do it, we'll keep you in for another year. And then you can try and get the Red Bull seat when Perez is gone. But Lawson coming in is just complicated it a bit. And I don't know, Laurence might have heard differently since he's got to Singapore, but it does seem still like it's very much an open question around, what Lawson does beyond this stint in the car.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.